Right, guys, we're live for a second time this week, and tonight we're almost 2 weeks to um, race day, and the excitement is building. And these guys I've meant to interview for quite some time. It just hasn't happened. People are busy. The boys are busy. Um, they're musicians. They're ultra runners. They're the Barrett brothers, and they're good crack, I must admit. So I got those together with their newfound brother, or cousin, or long lost cousin, or brother from a different mother, or whatever. It's the Barrett brothers extended. Duncan is actually from up the country. He's not a Kerry man, unfortunately, for himself. But he has been down to Kerry many, many, many times. He's done the Kerry Way ULTRA. I'm not too sure how many times. We're going to find out from himself. What we're going to do first is we're going to give preference to obviously the Kerry men and chat with them first. Get a little bit of their backstory because they're new enough to this ultra running scene. So I want to know what got them into it, what inspires them, what pushes them, and what they're aiming to do this year. So without further ado, let me know in the comments firstly, guys. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me, if the audio is okay, and where you are watching from. Are you watching from Kerry? Are you from up the country? Tonight is the first time we've gone live on Facebook and on YouTube, okay? Because this year for the race, we will be streaming to 16 different social media channels. Well, not 16, but maybe about 2 or 3. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So let me know in the comments, please, where you're watching from and what platform you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please just drop me a comment. Say everything is okay. I see some likes and all good. John Moriarty watching from Cork. Thank you, John. So we're good with the audio. So now I can bring on the Kerry men. Rightio. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Right, the Barrett brothers. Excuse me. Can you hear me? That's me. Right, there we go. Daniel and Thomas, welcome to the live stream.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Very good. Right, tell me everything, guys. Tell me everything. How did you get into ultra running? What inspired you? Because you're only in, from what I understand, about 2 years.
Yeah, I think this is the year 3 now. Is it, Tom?
Yeah, I think so. Like it kind of started off. I suppose we weren't doing anything was kind of the issue, and I myself and Dan play a lot of football and all that sort of thing, and then we went on to the running. Then like one evening, I was just like I was over in Glownaginty, it is outside Tralee, and the famous John Linehan's from there. So I saw a fella running on the hills, and I was like, that looks unreal. And I said, I wonder, is it possible for me to even try to do something like that? So I said it to Dan, and Dan said, yeah, sure, we'll go over there and walk around. And we shuffled up the first bit of a hill and
got a stroke.
Yeah, we nearly got a stroke. Yeah. We were kind of out of shape, is a nice way of putting it. But oh yeah, we just went back, and then we said, Joe, we'll go back 1 evening a week and 2 evenings a week. And a race came up. It was a 10K race. And we said, you know what, we were only running maybe twice a week or something.
Yeah, I don't even think we were very structured when we started that. Like we were saying,
no, it was just whenever we felt like going over there. Like we had no interest in running. Like we never did well, I didn't do any athletics when I was younger or anything, or anything like that. So we just went over, we did the race, and then we're like, right, we might be actually, this is kind of a cool enough sport. So we got shoes and we did all those sort of things, got a pack for water, and we started reading and found out it was a sport, and we're like, this might be actually cool. And then we went on to do an adventure race and bought a bike, and we did one of them, and we were like, this is not enough, like this is not feeding the itch. So we always said like, oh, we'd never do one of those ultras, like that's madness, like why would you put your body through that? And then we did the quest, I think, or something like that, the adventure race, and we were like, yeah, let's try this ultra run and carry on. And
Yeah.
here we
I
are.
think two of the worst bikes that ever entered any of the Quest events as well. I'd say we were there lined up on the start line with fellas with 5 and 6 grand racing bikes, and we had 250 bikes we bought off Dundee, just lubed up the chain and away we went. Like, so it was pure kind of just flying by the seat of our pants a lot of the times with it. I think just to go back to that Ginty race though, is that because we started all our running there, it became like our reference point for running. Most people start on the road, and it kind of takes them a long time, I suppose, to build up to doing the longer stuff or the more difficult stuff. But like, our reference point was starting behind the Ginty doing 10Ks with good elevation, as good strong climbs there. And then I think once we actually did the race behind her, then we were surprised at how well we did for training for such a little amount of time. And then, like that, Tom was saying, we did the Quest below and came here, and it was like an hour and a half long or something. We did the shortest one, and we were just like, yeah, that was all that training isn't worth just suffering for an hour and a half. So let's extend the pain a little bit.
Yeah, and then COVID came in, and kind of
Glenneginty, the race you did there, was that the winter one or the summer one?
Winter,
yeah.
December.
Right, very good. The marathon distance, was it? Or did you?
No, we just did. We just did the 10K because I think we started training in, like, we started maybe running at the start of that summer behind there, and then by the end of the summer we were kind of starting to.
We had the shoes bought. We had trail running shoes bought. Like.
I would say we were Frankensteining a kind of a running plan together. More the fact that we were going out the same nights every week more than anything else, and then. Going back there, then we just saw one evening there was a 10K in December up on the board, and we said, sure, we may as well throw our hat in the ring for this and see how we get on, and we'll have a laugh. We'll have a laugh in it, if nothing else. I think we ended up, I don't know, was it 5th and 9th, and it was like our first running race ever, and by all accounts, the lads behind there were like, obviously we didn't know anyone, but apparently it was a decent enough field and stuff, like, but it was gas. That just kind of got us hooked in it then, like, and then we kind of wanted to start competing and things, and kind of like that, we're competitive with each other at the best of times, and it just kind of like that. It wasn't necessarily that we decided at any point to go into ultra running. It just spiraled into it more than anything else. Like,
right, very good. So after that, you went to Quest, about an hour and a half racing, 10K racing. When did you start stepping things up to kind of marathon distance and then kind of ultra?
It was definitely COVID.
Yeah.
During the COVID, like we were taking liberties with the 5K circumference or whatever. We did 5K when everyone was doing 5K, and then when we were meant to do 5K, within 6 months later, we kind of were doing half marathons around our house. We tried to stay as much inside 5K as we could, but we were taking all there's kind of a road route, let's say, around Corrow that could bring us up by the bog, because we're into nature and all that. Like, that's what we wanted to do, and it was a way of keeping fit, and everyone was bored, so everyone started doing the exercise thing, and that's when that's when it just kind of, and then we heard like that the Kerry Way said, everyone was saying COVID's going to end now in August and we're going to be back, and we were like, you know, we could maybe try one of these.
Yeah, I think what it was as well was that when we were very young, like, our parents would have taken us walking out the Old Kinmare Road and stuff, so we kind of, that became like a route that when we were doing the road routes here doing Cove and stuff, we were saying, like, you know, it'd be great to run up and down to Kinmare and see how we get on. Like if I brought up the time that it took us to go down to Kinmare the first time, like, we should have carried a tent and stuff with us. It was ridiculous how long it ended up taking, like, but
we were bringing sandwiches and everything.
Yeah, sandwiches and tea, and probably the tent booking for the night below, Kinmare, come back. But like that, we just kind of got, once we started doing the longer stuff then, and you start doing, you know, 30K and every weekend, a marathon distance becomes very kind of approachable to you then, and it's like 10K is nothing when you're doing 30K every weekend, and then you know, we're doing nice mileage during the week, and then we kind of said, right, let's see what's out there in terms of like a 50K, and the Kerry Way was literally the first one we signed up for. We were like, there was kind of like the 200K was, I think we signed up for the ultralight. The 200K was never even in our head. Like, it was just, let's see how we get on with one of these and what's the crack. And I don't know. Then we just kind of started working towards that, and then the more we started working towards that and comparing the kind of times we were doing in training and the stuff we were doing, we were kind of realizing that, you know, even though we're only at it a short amount of time, we can kind of get fairly decent at this if we just keep putting in the time. And then you start to see the likes of Ricky and the guys, like they're putting in massive work, but it's just a case of staying at it long enough. Really, is kind of the hard thing. Like if you can stay at this for 5 or 6 years, eventually you'll be up at the mileage that they're doing. Like, and that's kind of what we're working towards at the moment.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about consistency, and I mean, you know, you say 4 or 5 years, but there are quite a few people like Michael O'Brien who's watching tonight, who, you know, he's taking up his distance. Obviously, take it easy, take your distance. You don't. I mean, very few people jump from couch to 200 kilometers, but he had a good base fitness. But yeah, within 2 years, 2 to 3 years, you can jump up to 200k pretty damn easily, and with many people in the community. So you
Like, we
guys
had
went
no-
from Delight.
Yeah.
So we had great plans for the light coming up to the light. Like, I think myself and Tom would know what are saying it now. Like, is that we were doing great clocking training, and we'd done like massive sections of it. Like we did Sneem to Derrycunny a good few times. We did Blackwater Bridge all the way into Killarney a good few times. Like, and we were saying to ourselves, like, you know, we could give this a right good go and potentially we were kind of saying top 10 would be kind of our hopes and things. And then we just made an absolute dog's dinner of the taper, and the day of the race, it just like fell apart on us. Like we've no bother saying it. Like, we just made an absolute mess of it. Like, but it was kind of a good thing as well to learn something the hard way. I mean, we did the ultralight, and I think I said on the way into Killarney, it was the worst day I ever gave down the pair of running shoes. Like, it was just torturous from the start to finish. It was just torture. Like, but yeah, it was good fun. And then we kind of said, right, look, we know where we are now, and we were kind of saying to ourselves, if we kind of set ourselves two main goals for this year was to do Wicklow and to do the Kerry Way. Tom did the Mars Mullins as well to start the year. I was kind of coming back from a bit of a back injury, but like, we kind of did Wicklow then, and now it just all seems to be, I don't know, are we in over our heads, or is it ignorance is bliss, or what's the story? But we're going to give it a rattle anyway and see how we get on.
Yeah. Like, I think that like every year we kind of every year since we started, and let's say when we did the ultralight, like we came after ultralight and we said, right, this went wrong, and how do we fix it? And every December, then over Christmas days, look, we take just a few days around Christmas off, and then once the 1st of January comes, like, we're back at it again, because we do, like, it's always been the case with us. We're like, I did dancing, and then did the soccer with Kerry, and like, there's always been a competitive nature, and it's kind of like we don't want to be in the middle of the field. Like, Joe, we want to be up there, and we want to eventually get, because it's just the competitiveness. There's a competitive streak, and it's hard to pull it out of us. But like, Joe, we're just gonna keep horsing and keep training, and we're gonna get there eventually.
Good. And we'll get into it in a second. However, for the moment, the taper. We have a good question here from somebody that's watching. I think it's Eileen. What did happen with the taper? And why did you mess it up? Did you just not taper at all for that light?
No, it was actually the opposite. We'd like we were kind of figuring, as we were going along, we were kind of figuring out the plan as we were kind of, like, this year we sat down to start here and we built the plan from January all the way up to the day before the Kerry Way. Like, we knew everything we were doing, including races, tapers, everything, when we were peaking, when we were recovering. I think last year we just started building, and then about 2 weeks, was it 2 or 3 weeks out maybe, Tom? We just dropped everything off so much that the day of the race, our bodies were like, we kind of said, we'll keep as much in the tank as we can, we'll be as fresh as we can going into this. And then we tried to go out at a pace that we'd been training at all year. And then I think by the time I got to the bog in Khmer, I was in trouble. I was starting to get bits of cramp and stuff, which would never have happened to me in a million years on a training day going at that pace. And then I think we got into Kinmare. Tom was after pulling away from me a bit coming into Kinmare. We got into the stop, and I said to Tom, like I said, all I'm going to be doing here is holding you up. Like I can't go at the pace you're going. Told Tom to go. I think Tom, you were what, half a kilometre outside Kinmare, and the wheels started coming off as well.
I was getting bits and pieces. It was just all a panic thing. It's like my big brother has fucking gone down now, and like Joe, I'm here little, like, what was I, 19 years old or whatever, 19 or 20 or whatever I was, and I was there, like, I'm a small lad and there's big lads around me, and then there was kind of, I heard someone saying, come here, like, oh, you're up there in the top 20 or whatever, and just the panic setting. I say the adrenaline, like, it was after that, and then I started cramping, or else I started thinking I was cramping and panicking, but I just said I keep the boot down for as long as I can and try to get back to Randall's as fast as I can. It was just a big brush, like, there was no sense to it really.
Yeah,
but,
so I think it was just not like, there's recovering, being smart with your recovery coming into, but as your mileage drops down, what we found anyway with Wicklow is as your mileage drops down, the intensity of every run needs to kick up 5 or 6 gears. So like, if you're used to cruising along at a 5 minute 30 kilometer, when you're hitting into your taper and you're dropping 20 or 30% off your mileage, you really need to be starting to break into the fours. Like, you need to be pushing yourself that bit harder. You've plenty in the legs, plenty in the tank, but you just need to be spiking that heart rate right up to keep everything kind of ticking over nicely. And it's something we didn't learn till this year. I mean, we went into Waterville with no taper at all. We kind of ramped up, and we planned it so that our 40-week long run would fall the same weekend as Waterville. It worked out well. I think we finished 9th and 10th in that.
The whole idea was just to get that rate. Like, we're so like, we don't have any experience in a race setting, and just like, I found that really spooked me. It was just tearing off with the Reka fellas. Like, it just, you can get caught up in it too much. And I said, Dan, I'm going to do Mossmullins, I'm going to do Waterville, I'm going to do Wicklow. I need to get the race feeling in me, so I know I can leave fellas tear off, and when I'm 50 or 60k, and I can leave fellas past me and go on, I'm going to catch you in 2 or 3 hours time, like.
Yeah.
But it's just, we just need that time, like, to.
Waterville was a great one.
Go, yeah.
Waterville was actually a great one for that, because when we got down there, Joe Larry was there, and in our race in the 43k, so like, Joe's covering ground like a goat, like. And then you had, what was your man as well that was in UTMB? He actually ended up winning it. His name starts with Z. It's after leaving me now. But he was like third in UTMB like 5 or 6 years ago. So the two of them were in a 43k race below Waterville, and we're like, somehow the two of us managed to just hold from chomping at the bit, going chasing them. We kind of said, we'll just set our own pace and see how we go on, and it worked well for us. I think then that kind of set off in ourselves that, like, right, we need to run it our own. I think Simon said it as well. Simon Connaughton last year as well said it at Laura Brandon's. He was like, I have to go at my own pace, or else I'm going to get caught up running and racing with guys that it's not necessarily the pace I need, but over 100 miles, you can't really tell who's got the right pace in the first half of that race anyway. Like, so we kind of just decided, we know we're putting in the hard work, we know we're putting in the hard graft. Let's run at what's comfortable for us, and hopefully eventually that'll land us where we want to be. Like,
cool. Yeah, and one thing I say about, following you from a bit of a distance is, you're really learning as you go along, and you're kind of, you're progressing massively, which is great to actually follow you over the past 2 years. But one thing you've actually down to a T is your modeling. You see, photos like this, was that taken by professional? I mean, you can go out running and try and improve your ultra running, but you should just be models. Just go for top models.
Shawnee does pose with the little yellow men on them, like, fire a little GoPro up on top of him. You get the wide angle, and away you go.
Yeah, very good.
Any top tips.
Right.
But
what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick chat with. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a little photo of you guys. This is actually. Do you want to tell us? Because we have another Barrett on tonight, and I think this was where you actually met Duncan, who is a regular in the Kerry Way and that I've been meaning to chat with for quite some time. So do you want to talk us through a little bit about your Wicklow Way and meeting Duncan and how you actually connected with your brother from a different mother?
Yeah.
Yes. So do you want to go down there? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think we were standing around the start line in, like, we knew there was another. We kind of knew before we obviously registered when we saw the race list that there was another Barrett in it, and the way they drew the numbers for the IMRA was that they went alphabetical. So I ended up with fucking 1 on my top, like an absolute numped. Like, I was like, the last thing I needed to be doing is running out with number 1 on the bib. But we were talking to, I think, Gavin Byrne, I think, was there, and there was 1 or 2 of the other lads around, and Duncan ended up just happened to be in the conversation as well, and we were like, "Oh, you're the other Barrett." With 3 of us were like that Spider-Man meme where the 3 of us are pointing at each other, and like that, we kind of introduced ourselves to him, and we were having a bit of crack or whatever. And Duncan's a fierce, nice fella, very, very approachable and things. And it was great to. I think he gave us a bit of advice not to go too hard, and we were telling him it's our first time over the 100k distance, like, so he was telling us, give us a small bit of advice or whatever. And we all kind of tore off into the night and didn't think no more about each other until I think day was kind of breaking the next day, and we were coming on for wherever they had the ice cream van, and the next minute Duncan appears out of nowhere and just passes the 2 of us, kind of coming along a bit of a field, and we were like, well, that's the second time we've seen Duncan today. It's probably the last time we're going to see him as well. But we ended up kind of catching up to each other then a little bit later, and we were like that. We were chatting back and forth, and we were having a bit of crack and things. And then as the wheels were coming off our bus, Duncan seemed to be finding wheels, and he just pulled away, must have left us for dead. But yeah, no, it was great to meet someone like that with so much experience. I think that's the one thing as well that we're starting to only get to know the lads in the sport. Like, we're only like that. We set up the Instagram page more for a bit of crack with ourselves and anything else, and then it's kind of the community now we're starting to meet. Like Tom was saying there, that one of the lads from the Cherry Orchard Running Club who do the ultras helped them out with water there last week in Glencullen. There's been loads of cases where we've met lads out running. I met a guy I met one of the lads blowing Sneem, I think. He said he's doing the ultra light. He told me that where there was some water he left out on the route the weekend, and it's just, even though it's competitive and we're all racing each other and stuff, it's a really cool community, the ultra running community. It's different to anything that I've ever been in before. Everyone's out to look after each other, which is great, really. Like, you don't get that many places. But Duncan was just an extension of that then as well. Just and then I don't think we didn't know it at the time, but like, I think he's 4 Kerry Ways done, and that was his 4th Wicklow Way or something. And we were just like,
you're so modest, like,
yeah, you'd swear like. You swear he'd done maybe 2 or 3 10Ks, like, talking to him, and you're like, this guy. You see it then after, like, this guy's an absolute monster, like. Yeah, it's great to meet Duncan.
Big time. I'm gonna just jump on with Duncan there, and then we'll have a chat, all of us, in a few short seconds. Just gotta manage this. Right. Oh goodness, technology. Right, here we go. Right, let's sort out. Duncan, how are you doing?
I'm
Welcome to
doing
the
good.
live stream.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good. So, you met your 2 brothers up in Wicklow.
I did believe it. I couldn't believe it that I met the Barretts.
And you
But I was with Gavin Byrne was saying he was just saying talk to the Barrett brothers. So I was like, what? There's 2 other Barretts here? So I can introduce myself and go, hey, I'm a Barrett. So it's lovely to meet them and introduce them to the race. Kind of talk a little about the Wicklow Way and stuff like that.
Very good. You must have been a little pissed because usually you have number 1 because you're Barrett and Duncan like DB, but Daniel obviously beat you to it up in Wicklow. Is your heart feeling?
It's all about sharing and all about sharing the number.
Very good. So tell me, Duncan, you've been in the sport a lot, as the guys said. You've like 4 Kerry Ways, 4 Wicklow Ways. When did it all start for you?
It started actually 2014 in Boulder, Colorado, and I was climbing this Peak Heatus, and I met this guy on the top that had just run 100, and I couldn't believe it. I never even knew it existed. I never thought that there was a marathon. I never was trail running. So I got back to Ireland. I moved from Galway to Wicklow, and asked Juju J, and he had a little running outfit down in Glendalough, and I started running with him, people, and it just kind of blew my mind. And my first race was in 2000 ultra. I mean ultra race across Stone Solo. And but I'd been carried for a while because I started in 2014, was it 13, 14? What's the first one? Do you know?
That's right. We're year 10, so well, 2013 was, I suppose, the first main year.
Yeah. I got up and I was like, yeah. So it crossed, and that was an eye opener.
Actually, Duncan,
That's
do you mind reconnecting, because there's a lot of feedback and it's actually quite
Yeah.
hard to listen to. So do you mind just leaving and then coming back again? I'm just gonna, guys, show a little video while we're waiting for Duncan to reconnect. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Right, Duncan, we have you back.
Okay. Hopefully the reception is better.
That's a little better, actually. Yeah, very good. All right, so Kerry Way, we're on to Kerry Way. You starting off. What was the first year?
I think 2018 was
2018.
2018. Yeah. I think so.
And how did that go? That was year one. Was that your first ever distance at 2000 or 200 kilometers?
I wish it was 2008. Yeah, it was the first change. It was horrendous. To be honest. It was so tough. It was so unbelievably tough. The views, like scenery and everything, is amazing. Like that's why I go. I just love the. I just think it's just breathtaking. But to some sections in that just. And when I got as far as Kenmare, I actually have the right overalls and the white wet gear. So actually, when I came into sleep, it was nighttime. I had to borrow someone else's jacket because and I borrowed someone else's jacket again. So I was going all the way back to Kenmare, and at Kenmare I had to drop. I was just shaken at the time, and I was just exhausted. So I asked what 25 kilos go. I just couldn't make it. So I dropped out that year. Determined to come back, and I came the following year. Again, horrendous again. But there's something about something that's very tough and very satisfying in completing this. So the second attempt, I got through, and then one year came on. It was faster, but it was still horrendous. And I managed to get through. Came down the following year. Came down the following year and ran my best race, actually. So it's just I just think it's such a magical race. I just like the crew that turn up. I love meeting all the runners again. It's like a family. The organisations. I'm glad that the ending is in that's gonna be real.
And what advice would you give to? I mean, you've been through it so many times, both Kerry Way ULTRA, Wicklow Way, and many other races. For people that are first timers, what advice would you give them?
Footwear is really important on your feet for a very long time. Nutrition. I never get it right myself, but it's good to just have enough selection of things to take. And like I have it that well. Any of the times, I've always kind of tried different things, just kind of worked. Don't drink coffee when you start the race. No, don't do that. Very bad idea. Yeah, you don't really need a lot of Coke. Just make sure that you're very hydrated. One of the things I think is one important things, and I got when I did Waterville. I did the big one. Was salt pellets, amazing. I never had them before. I wish it was years ago. I didn't get any cramps. And the thing was before the trail race. I hadn't done any no. I was just jumping into the race. I didn't know make it. I was worried. I was up, and I took some pills, and it was just a life. I don't recommend it, but it was a lifesaver.
Very good. Yeah, salt tags big time. We have a question here from Tomas. Would you be wearing your eco shoes? Is it eco shoes that you were wearing at Mullins?
Yeah. The Mullins was a bit of a disaster. I wore a pair of shoe runners, and they look like runners. So I'll just wear them. And I wore the whole of the Mars. The whole race was a bit of a disaster. Even the direction and everything. But yeah, they tore the feet off me. I mean, I had blisters like I never before. I'll never do that again. And that was like that shouldn't minus, but it was. I guess you're always a rookie. 200 ultra. You never know. You can over under prepare. You're always.
Yeah, big time. As you say, we're always learning.
Yeah,
we're always learning.
We're always no one that's the best of runners blow up. So, yeah, a lot of the very best of runners go out there to beat the records, but they overstep themselves a lot of the time. So everybody suffers. How good you are.
Big time. Tell us, so what's your aim this year? You're coming back for, is it fit finish? What's your aim? Do you have times in mind, or are you just coming down to enjoy the atmosphere?
No times. I get around us, really. You know, it's not about times. I want to enjoy it. Probably going to cry as well. You get a whole range when you're out there. You know, it's kind of like an odyssey. You have times where you're feeling great, you're feeling your brand place. Then you have other times you're really strong. You really question yourself. Or you really kind of look into yourself, and you're really deep. Like this part of that race that are okay. You could be chatting to someone. You don't know true. You know, a lot of things come up for you. Think about like on your, you know, your life and whatever. So it's kind of like a bit of an odyssey, the whole race. And it's a long time to be honest. Well,
big time. Sorry. Right, we have the reception isn't the best, Duncan. So what we're going to do there is there's a bit of feedback. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you on at a different stage. We'll sort that out because I can tell that we've got lots of questions coming in, and you've so much experience that it would be great to have you on before the race. And we'll just sort out that little feedback issue, and hopefully get you on before the actual race day, because you've been through it so many times. And people are saying, yeah, Duncan always have a fiver in the pocket. That's from William Sheehan. I'm not too sure. There's obviously a little something that's gone on in the past. Maybe do you want to tell us about that very quickly?
I can't remember at the top of my head. I can't quite remember.
That's all right. We'll sort out this feedback issue, and we'll have you on for at another time. I'll just pop on to your two brothers, and we'll find out how competitive are they really, and who's going to finish on top this year. So let me just sort out the audio for the Kerry men. Right, Daniel, Thomas, competitive nature. This is one of Ireland's top ultra races. September. Everybody's been waiting for it for 10 years. 10 years! All right? This is exciting. You guys have been training all year. What's going to happen? Give us a little breakdown. Daniel.
Go on. Blow the walls, Laura. No, look, we're just going to run our own race. Like, look, we've put in 2 years of solid work. Like, every year we're reading science papers, we're reading books, we're trying to get nutrition right every time. We're asking the boys, we're asking Steve Mangan, Gavin, we're asking the boys where we want to be rubbing shoulders with them in a few years down the line. So we're asking them, what are you doing? We're on Strava, we're looking at what they're doing, and we're like, what can we do now to make ourselves better? So we've done what we've done. We're going to do what we've planned to do and run our own race, sure, and that's just what we're going to do. Look, we can't do any more than that, really.
Yeah, like we're too simple enough, lads. Like, I don't think anyone's, even though Tom's is going to be a vet and things, I don't think everyone's ever accused us of being over intelligent in a room anyway. But like, we know we're not going to be out there. We know we're not going to be out the front with the likes of Steve Mangan and stuff. It's just the reality of the way we're looking at it is we're probably a year or two off where the mileage needs to be able to compete with these guys. You've the likes of Ed Payne as well coming back from last year, who we like his race strategy, all gas, no brakes until the wheels come off. That's kind of the way we approach Wicklow as well, and it worked out well for us now. The wheels came off before we got to Clongall, but eventually they won't come off, and that's the day that we're kind of building for. But we have like a couple of races we want to do. I think we have an idea. We're going to do as well as we can in Kerry this year. I mean, to win any of these races, you have to finish them first, and finishing them alone is a task in itself. We want to tick that 100-mile box. I think our plan for next year, Tom, is to go to Wales. We're looking at the Dragons back for next year. But then when we swing back around to Kerry in a year's time, we want to be chasing the likes of Steve Mangan and Ed Payne and Gavin and Keaton, Ricky and these guys. Like, our aim is to be out the front of the pack. We don't, like, we looked at the work that the likes of John Keogh and Ricky did last year, it's so impressive to see these lads working full-time jobs, training 6-7 days a week, putting in massive mileage. But we're also looking at it going,
we can do that.
Like, the only thing that's stopping us doing that now is if we try and do it, we're going to get injured. Whereas if we just build towards it over the next year or two, we'll eventually land where they are. I mean, Tom's always taking the piss out of me that I'm shoving on a bit. Like, I'm 28 this year, so based on where Ricky is, I have another 10 years before I start peaking. Tom is looking at another 20 odd years before he starts peaking. So there's probably fellers in nappies at the moment that Tom will be racing in a couple of years' time. But like that, we've plenty time. The main thing is, like you say, consistency, training 6 days a week over another 2 or 3 years, building up the mileage, building up the pace, and eventually, the gas won't let off coming home, and we'll be there and thereabouts. And that's the plan long term. But this year, I think we'll just go out, enjoy ourselves, have the crack like we always do, shout and roaring, acting the mick, and we'll end up where we end up.
Yeah, but this competitive streak, as you said, between both of yourselves, are you going to manage your own race strategy, or are you kind of going to go out and kind of stick together-ish for like the first half and then see what happens?
We've this is a conversation we have before every race. Like, I think we do more or less the same training. It always happens to us when we're coming in, especially coming into Kinmare Road, when we come back over where the metal bridge is below near the waterfall. Once we come out over the top of that hill, tis all guts till the car park. Like, we always end up with one of us will push a little bit on a hill, the second fella will start chasing. That's the way. It's not that we go to beat each other, but that's the way it always ends up happening. One of us pushes a little bit when we're training, then one of us comes back at each other, and then by the time we know it, we're tearing away at 4 minute kilometers with busting a lung trying to catch each other. That's the way we are. But I think we've decided that we're gonna run these races together. There's a couple of events as well that we're looking at that we'd like to run. You see some of the ultra events in America and places where they run in teams. That's something we're interested in. But I think unless something goes wrong, it'll be very hard to see one of us pulling away from the other one anyway. I think like Tom said, we'll go as well as we can. We normally end up side by side, and if one of us starts lagging behind, it's the fella that's lagging behind that needs to speed up, not the fella in front to slow down. So we haven't managed to split up since yet, bar the ultra light last year. So the plan would be to stay together, and then as well, it's more disheartening for fellas when you pass them that there's two of us rather than one of us.
Shut down. I suppose, yeah, that's it. Like, look, we're doing. There's no hiding that we're doing the exact same training, and I'm texting Dan. How do you feel there the weekend when you did your 16? He texts back, and how much elevation are you doing or whatever. But most of the time we're doing the same thing on the weekends anyway. It's just because I'm in Dublin. But yeah, like
You're in Dublin. How is that for you? I mean, coming out of the kingdom, it must be tough to go up to the big smoke, is it?
Yeah, it's hard going. Like, I must finish this bit of year in college now and get out the door and get back down to Kerry. That's like, we started doing a bit of road running anyway in our program because of what John Keogh said and stuff we picked up on and stuff that we tried and that is working, and we want to do that. But the minute I get a chance to go on the trail, I'm down in 11 and heading to Bray, and I tear out over the out towards the Wicklow way, like, you know.
Very good, very good. So you guys, you're going to manage your own race, but you're going to go out hard, just like Ed Payne. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be great for the people to watch it, for me to cover it. It's going to be really exciting. Do you want to give me a little bit of pronostics? Because you guys know all the runners that are kind of in Ireland that are in the race. Who do you think might be pushing it up the front?
I think, like, we've been looking at it for the last couple of years, and it's like, I think if anyone runs anything other than a perfect race, Keith Lane is always going to be there to take it. I think he'll probably be up there again this year, but I think it's the likes of Stephen Mangan and Mickey Brennan, who we experienced firsthand last year in the ultralight. We saw the two of them go at it above in Wicklow as well. I'd say the two of them won't be far away, but then again, if Ed Payne puts it together as well, they'll probably blow what records are going out of the park. Like, so I'd say it'll be probably between them few again. Like, what do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it will be a class race. Like, there's just the lineup that's coming there. Like, we're just waiting for Ricky to come back from CCC and say he's got to give it a rattle. But like, there's class runners in it this year. It's gonna be tight, and yeah, I can't wait. I'd say there'll be record breaking pace until Waterville, definitely, anyway, and yeah, it'll just be class. I like to put my money on the local man. I'd put my money on Steve to bring it home, because
good man.
Kerry Way don't stick together.
good man.
You know,
but I will say, yeah, the ground, from what I understand, is very dry. Has been very dry. If it stays dry for the next week or two, then it's going to be perfect for a very fast race. I will say there is one or two foreigners who are very strong. Maybe they're staying underneath the radar for the moment. We will hopefully do a little race review so that maybe we can reveal one or two of these foreigners who are very fast also. So it will be very exciting to watch with you two guys not far off or thereabouts also. So thank you guys for joining us, for telling us about your ultra journey, and we will see you down in Killarney.
Thanks, Johnny.
Cheers. Duncan, thank you also. We'll chat to you before the race also to bring you on and so that you can share lots of your wisdom. Obviously salt tabs and everything that you've been through, but there was a few little feedback issues. But other than that, ladies and gents, we're going to have a few sessions next week. Where's my camera? Here. Yeah. We're going to have a few sessions possibly next week or this weekend with Eileen. Okay. We're going to chat about, I suppose, all the questions you may have with 1 week, with 2 weeks left before the race. So that'll be a necessary almost to actually pop on and drop in your questions. If there's any questions there right now, let me check the chat. Again, I will announce that on the page. It'll be within the next week. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, we'll show you just a little preview of stage 1 from last year. If my tech will work. No, it won't work. So let me go. There we go. Right, guys, my tech doesn't seem to be working tonight, but anyhow, I'll bid you a good night and stay tuned for the next live. We're going to have some couples on who are racing together, and we're going to have Eileen on with the last Q&A, and we'll see you in about 2 weeks in Killarney.